take a look at how to use Nano Banana, the incredibly powerful new image editor from Google. This is a powerful AI system, and the first thing I'll say is don't do the wrong thing when you're trying to find it. That's the first step to using this properly, because what would you think to do to use Google's most powerful AI image editor? You'd probably Google it, put in Nano Banana, and that will bring up the correct version, but it'll also bring up nanobanana.ai. Now, this is a knockoff site, it appears. They say right here in a little disclaimer that they're not affiliated with Google, but somebody was smart and went ahead and registered this domain name very quickly to try to kind of trick people. And they often show up sometimes even in the first position. So ignore nanobanana.ai. And what you want to actually do to access this, the easiest way to do it is to go to Google Gemini. This model is embedded within the Gemini system, and that's literally just gemini.google.com. And you can sign in. I'm in here in my account. I have a pro account, but you don't need that. You can access Nano Banana through the free version of Gemini. Now, Nano Banana is the code name, as it were, for this model. It's a very silly name, and it started out because they needed to hide the identity of who created this model when it was basically competing with other models in its early days and online kind of arenas where people essentially pit these models against each other. So they didn't want people to know it was a Google product. They didn't call it Gemini. They called it Nano Banana. The name stuck for better or worse, but really, technically, it's a Gemini 2.5 Flash is the full real name for it. So make sure you have that selected in Gemini if you want to use the model. Otherwise, you'll be using older versions of their image creation and image editing tech. Now, you can create an image with Nano Banana. I would say that honestly, that is not the best use for it. It's an okay image generator, but it's a fantastic image editor. So I would look towards things like a diagram and ChatGPT to do the image generation if you want to create images, even Midjourney. But if you want to edit images, again, this is Nano Banana's the thing to use. So make sure you're using it for the proper use case there. Now our next step is we're going to press the little plus thing here and say add files. And then we're going to say upload files. And I'm going to select and let it upload this picture of my dog, Lance. Now, if I want to change something about the photo, all I have to do is type in here exactly what I want to do to make the edits. So I can say something like, make it look like Lance is standing on the plaza in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. And it doesn't actually know who Lance is, so I'll say, make it look like this dog is standing on the plaza in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. I don't know if I even spelled that right, doesn't matter. Go ahead and submit this. And it'll take sometimes a minute to do this. It's fairly fast, so we'll just pause for a second here and come back once it's done with this image. And there he is, my dog Lance, complete with his little tracker and everything from this original photo, standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. And you can see it got the shadow correct, it got his facial expression pretty much correct. It's got these imaginary people in the background. There's the Eiffel Tower. Nice perspective with the bricks going off in the distance. Again, it's very good at editing images. So that's the first operation, editing with a prompt, but we can also edit with multiple images. So let's open a new window here. I've got a new chat going, and I'm going to upload, in this case, 2 different photos. So let's put the Lance photo back in there. Again, we're going to click this little plus and then do upload files. And I'll select the photo of Lance and a photo of a background that I want to place him in. So here I've got a real photo I took in Monterey, California. I've got a real photo I took of Lance, and I'm going to say, make it look like this dog is standing on the beach. Make sure to get his, I'm going to say on this beach so it knows I'm talking about the photo. Beach, make sure to get his size and perspective correct. Sometimes it struggles with that, so I like to just kind of remind it what I'm going for. And then let's go ahead and run it and see what it comes up with. So essentially here we're compositing 2 photos, 2 real photos together to make it look like my dog Lance came on this vacation with me. So there he is. It's not quite perfect. I think he's like a little bit too big for the fence there, but you can see what it's done in terms of placing him into that scene. So you can do things like that to edit, to combine photos together, and it's a little silly to put the dog in there, but I'll show you a more practical example. So here's my professional headshot. Let's imagine I want to make this, instead of being kind of friendly and approachable with the trees and stuff in the background of my headshot, I want to make this a little more corporate, a little more formal. So I'll say swap out the background of my headshot to make it look like a corporate boardroom, blurred with, I'll just, instead of blurred, I'll say with bokeh, which is like a soft focus on the background. And I'll tell my intent, like I want to make this more usable as a corporate headshot. Okay, let's run that and we'll come back and see it in a moment. And here I am in a much more corporate type of setting. It got my perspective and lighting pretty good. We've got this kind of generic, modern looking corporate boardroom in the background, and it's kind of matched the lighting and the overall look and feel to the correct photo. So here's the original, and here I am in more of a sort of corporate setting. Now, it got my face a little weird, like it kind of stretched me out a bit. What I would recommend doing is running this couple times. Actually, maybe that's partially just the way I'm smiling in that photo. Maybe I should ask it to get rid of that. But anyway, you could run it a few times if you're not immediately satisfied with the results. And of course, you could also feed it back into a traditional editing tool or ask it to make additional edits. Like, all right, make it look like I'm smiling in a slightly more natural way. Of course, this is a headshot, so maybe it's good to look a little bit less like I do on a day-to-day basis and have that look to me. So this is a couple of things you could do with Nano Banana. Again, quite powerful editing capabilities, compositing capabilities, and you can see for some real-world applications, this can be incredibly useful. If you found this helpful, please do like and subscribe. It really helps me out.